Well, too often, antiquated office buildings are left to the ravages of time. But not so for the Price Tower in Bartlesville. Designed by famed architect Frank Lloyd Wright, the Price Tower has been repurposed into a boutique hotel that embraces the architectural character that first made the historical building shine. Our Jessica Loyd takes us for a look.
A ride through downtown Bartlesville is like riding through a metropolitan city in the middle of rural Oklahoma, and pointed towards the sky stands 50-year-old Price Tower, the tallest skyscraper ever built by world-famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright.
I'd like to have architecture that belonged where you see it standing.
Originally designed for upscale New York, this 19-story building made it to Oklahoma Plains after Harold C. Price commissioned it in 1952.
The Price Company was an oil and gas pipeline construction firm. Eventually went international.
Richard Townsend is the executive director for Price Tower.
The Price Tower in 1956 terms was the most expensive construction per square foot in the United States. The building was costed out ultimately at $2.2 or $2.3 million.
And Wright likened the skyscraper to a tree, not just for its height, but how it's built.
The interior core of 4 concrete piers up through which the chases and the elevators run handle all the stress and load of the building.
Today, Price Tower is no longer an office headquarters for 1950s workers. It's an architectural artwork turned high-style public getaway. The inn at Price Tower occupies the top floors of the building as an intimate hotel with 21 distinctively designed hotel rooms, in keeping with Mr. Wright's knack for interior decorating and personal space.
Where everybody would have room, peace, comfort.
Today, customers can enjoy an evening view atop the tower in the Copper Restaurant and Bar. Don and Suzanne Sanders, a couple from Texas, had to stop by Bartlesville and see Wright's work for themselves.
It's kind of like eating and sleeping in a museum. I just kind of feel like I'm with history. I think it's just really great.
I was an art history major in college, so I studied Frank Lloyd Wright quite a bit, and this is such a treat for me to get to actually stay in a building that he designed.
And an elevator ride to the top floors takes you all the way back to 1956.
And Mr. Price would sit right here at this desk. This is his chair. We've just reupholstered it in its original, the original design. He goes inside the building and he designs not just the desk or not just a chair, but he designed up to 4 chairs, if my count is right.
Chairs Mr. Wright paid close attention to. And
this tilts back to adjust to your back, which I find very comfortable. His favorite shape was the 30, 60, 90-degree triangle, which he's doubled once to form an equilateral triangle, which he's doubled once again to form this diamond.
And he even went so far as to create a glass mural of color and triangles to design the office wall. And other than chairs, there's no freestanding furniture.
He called it client-proof. In other words, Mr. Wright placed this here in 1956, 1955, 1956, and it hasn't been moved since. It's exactly where he wanted it 50 years ago. Talk about control.
On up to the 17th and 18th floors is the Price family corporate apartment.
He created these spaces where bedrooms and bathrooms and kitchens are not important. They're very often, kept to the side. They're very small in scale. It's the living spaces, the dining room, the playrooms are these very large and spacious and dramatic spaces.
And Richard says using talented labor from home is all it took to replicate Wright's unique furnishings.
We didn't have working drawings for these pieces, but we had a very talented furniture maker here in Bartlesville recreate these by using photographs.
Talent that's also evident in the town's museum. Scott Perkins is the curator of exhibitions for Price Tower and says Price Tower Art Center is a community-driven museum bringing art, architecture, and design into Bartlesville.
What we like about it is especially that in a Frank Lloyd Wright skyscraper, you have all three of those elements combined. You have the architecture, you have the artwork in the murals that you see in the historic spaces, and then you have the design in the furniture, in the other finishes that are going on.
And Scott says Frank Lloyd Wright guides you through every aspect of Price Tower himself.
Wright is able to very subtly guide you into rooms just by following the walls on those angles.
Making a visit to Bartlesville a lesson in never judging a book by its cover. Price Tower is exactly what Frank Lloyd Wright meant for it to be, standing tall as the tree that escaped the crowded forest.